We had older brothers, and so we were at our older brothers' games when we were 7, 8, 9, and watching them play, but we were in the field next to them just playing our own game. We were just a tight group of guys. We were all brothers. Like, we were all hanging out with each other. And that's a special thing, and that's something that you can't really quantify because we were so close, and it's just, we had such a tight connections. We were such good friends leading up to 12 years old.
The pathway to making history in 1999 was laid long before a team of 12-year-old brothers took the field 20 years ago. In that special summer before the turn of the millennium, it was a bit of magic that took a ragtag group of Little Leaguers and put them in the state of Idaho on the map. But to get to the biggest stage, they had to get out of Idaho first.
Boy, I don't remember paying attention to their success. I mean, we had no reason to. There had never been a team from Idaho who had gone to the Little League World Series, and it didn't seem like that, that was going to be changing anytime soon.
We stumbled. In our district tournament here in Boise, I think we lost maybe our second game. We had to fight through the losers bracket just to make it to the district championship. And then we had to beat the team in the district championship twice in order to go to San Bernardino.
This team of brothers, they played a full Little League season, and then they had to play a full All-Star schedule. Then, after winning at districts, they took on the best teams in the state. All this for a chance to head to California, where very few people expected to see them even compete. San Bernardino hosted the regionals, and it was the furthest any Idaho team had ever even gone, one step away from that rarefied air, the Little League World Series. And the road to Williamsport through California was not going to be easy.
When you had to go up against all the California schools, I mean, there was just no way a team from Idaho was going to make it, especially one that only had, 11, 12 players on it.
Lesser teams would have given in, but not us. When you're that young, and when you're watching big leaguers play on TV, and you go outside and you tell yourself, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded, full count, that's what Little League is to you at that age.
It was intense because we really felt we had a competitive chance in this whole process, but we hadn't been through it before, so we didn't know. And so what was really, really fun for us, our first game, this stadium was filling up. And it holds like, 15 to 20,000 people or something like that. I don't know exactly. And it was full. And so we're playing Montana, and we end up going to extra innings.
Devin pitches, I think it was 8 awesome shutout innings. We can't score, and then I come in and pitch 3 innings, and I give up 3 runs. And so I was devastated, crying in the dugout, devastated. And then guys rally around, hey, let's do this. And it was epic.
I remember what happened. It was, and it's crazy that I remember this still. We went strikeout, single, double, triple, walk-off home run right in a row. And it's crazy that I remember that.
Dane hits a single, Seth hits a double, I get up, I hit a triple, and then Austin gets up and hits a home run. So boom, game over, walk off.
We went 9 or 10 innings, and finally, Austin Jones came up to bat, and we had Brian Champ on third at the time.
I was on third base, and I know the picture that everyone refers to, but just pure joy. One, because I didn't let down my teammates, and they all picked me up, but then the fact that we won, and we knew we were moving forward, but when he hit that home run, we just jumped out of our shoes.
I got up to him and I called timeout and I said, just hit the snot out of the ball. And so he gets up there and just takes a big swing, hits the ball out of the park, ball game, basically it. And so we're celebrating, and it was so much fun.
That really catapulted us. We were rolling.
You show up at San Bernardino and it's the first game, and you're wondering, do we compete? Are we meant to be here type deal? And then it was an insane game that we won with a walk-off home run. And at that point, it was special. And we knew we knew we were going to go real far.
The atmosphere in San Bernardino was hot, and we were, kind of grinding through, and we stayed in these barracks that were like dorms, but they were just cement.
The living arrangements were perfect for a 12-year-old because it was just bunk beds and no parents, and we were just hanging out.
Those were one of the most fun things that we did. We'd pile all those kids in a 14-passenger van, and we'd drive down the road to a diner or batting cages or wherever, and have the radio on, and the kids would just start singing. They're 12-year-old kids who don't care about anything, and so they're all singing at the top of their lungs, having a great time.
Being a baseball player, we're creatures of habit, and you win a game, you do everything the same way the next day. It sounds a little crazy, but it's just baseball. But yeah, we went to this buffet this one day. We vanned over there, and it worked once, so we kept doing it. It worked second time, kept doing it, and it ended up working out.
Plus, it was a good restaurant, so it was affordable for our budget, and the kids could get all they wanted, and we just had to watch what they would eat. For example, Brian Champ went up to the bar to get his food, and he comes back with nothing but jalapeno peppers piled high on his entire plate.
I don't remember too much about the restaurant. I remember piling a bunch of kids into the van and the poor coaches that had to deal with that. The other superstitions that were there were kind of your traditional, we're not going to wash our socks or we're not going to wash our uniform type deal. So it was a disaster zone in that the barracks area where we were staying.
We were 12 years old when we had to be, and then when the lights turned on and the first pitch was thrown, it was game on.
And then they win, unlikeliest of scenarios, and it's like, oh my, this is a first, this is a first of its kind. Little League World Series, these kids from Boise are going to go out to Williamsport.
We left the field after the championship game, and players and the parents were escorted into this room where these administrators were telling us, okay, congratulations, you guys are leaving in 3 hours.
When you win the state title, you expect it, and we win, and like, okay, we know we go to San Bruno, what's that? What's the next thing? And then that same kind of a feeling where, okay, we just won this regional, what did we just get ourselves into?
You're watching Channel 6 News at 5.
Thanks for joining us this evening. Call it a Cinderella story. In 1 hour, South Central Boise takes the field in round one of the Little League World Series.
I think from within 24 hours of them winning, I was on a plane to Williamsport by myself with a camera, no tripod.
As 12-year-olds get, I think a lot of us were just kind of getting fed up with each other to some extent. Just 2 weeks in one little tiny barracks for that amount of time, and then we got on planes, and we had none of our parents flew with us, so it was just Stan, Marty, and Paul with 11 12-year-olds, and we're getting on a plane to go to Williamsport. And so I remember getting to Pittsburgh, and we had to take a long walk from the gate we were at to the small puddle jumper gate, and it was just, I just remember like walking along and just being like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, this is so long.
There's now cameras, and ESPN was everywhere. They were doing player profiles, and you had to say who your favorite player is and your favorite team and whatever. And that just ratcheted it up, because now everything we did was under the spotlight. And when you're in the moment, you don't really know what's going on, but there was so much extra time to where you realized, okay, this is the real deal.
And that's when it hit me. I'm like, wow, this is real. And honestly, the moment when we got to the field at Williamsport was surreal. The lights were on, it was dark. We were the last team to arrive at Williamsport, and we get dropped off in these vans, and all of us just immediately started running towards the field, because this is this empty, beautiful field that you only see on a postcard sometimes, and we're there.
Now that the team was finally in Williamsport, all the way across the country from their friends and their family, the community here, back home, rallied to make sure the families got a chance to see their kids play on the biggest stage.
For some parents of these little leaguers, pulling the cash together to make the trip to Williamsport is proving difficult, but they are getting some help. Little League volunteers asked shoppers outside this Walmart on Overland Road for donations to help pay for travel expenses. They say they hope every single parent will be able to make the trip.
South Central, although it's 3 years into their program, they are standing on the backs of 19 years of volunteer work. They're doing a wonderful job of representing us, and we're very, very proud of them.
Howard says the community has really stepped up to the plate, and this group of volunteers at Walmart today collected more than $1,000.
One of the kids' parents was having a hard time getting out there, and if it was tough for me to get out there, I mean, there was a lot of working class parents, so all of a sudden trying to get time off. And yeah, of course they're going to try to get out there. Their kid's never going to be 12 again and playing, in the Little League World Series.
I think everybody was able to get back there. The community got really involved. Travel agencies, the statesmen, the Hawks, the TV stations, extremely grateful for all of what they did then.
It was a financial strain for a lot of them, and so there was some fundraising that was going on. And I know there were some very difficult travel scenarios that had occurred.
One lady, as I understand it, called, I think, an airline and said, "We need as many seats as you can give us right now."
I think it was Tyler Fields' parents were having a really hard time getting out there. And I just happened to be there, just because they were, I think it was before the game, but I just happened to be there when the parents showed up. And he's worried about, all the other parents are showing up, and here's Tyler, and then all of a sudden, Mom and Dad finally make it out there. And it was just this reunion, and I'm like, shooting video of this.
Tyler Fields' week at the Little League World Series started off wondering if his parents would ever make it here. They had several travel troubles and were the last to arrive, and Tyler was getting worried. But just before Monday's game, they showed up.
Well, by that time, I was really freaked out. When I came in, saw him when I was walking down the stairs to go in the park. So happy, so happy.
There was a time in San Bernardino when I thought I wasn't going to get to go, and I was bawling.
He looked up coming down the stairs behind us and saw us, and it was a transformation. He just came up and gave us the biggest hug we've had in a long time.
With his parents looking on, Tyler hit a double to the wall in right field, a moment he'll replay in his mind the rest of his life, and one his parents rejoiced over.
I'm the happiest man on the face of the earth. I am. His moment, no matter what, win, lose, or draw, he's got his priceless World Series moment, and he'll have that the rest of his life. It won't matter how far they go in this tournament. It won't matter how many games they win or how many games they lose. He stroked a double off the wall in a World Series game when he was a 12-year-old boy, and that is what it's all about.
There was no team victory on this night, but make no mistake, there was a victory, one that will last a lifetime.
And what a personal victory that was. Isn't that most definitely what Little League Baseball is all about? That's it for now from Williamsport, Pennsylvania at the Little League World Series. This is Joe Hughes with 6 on your side. Now, back to you.
Still very raw. I mean, when you lose and you're on a national stage and there's ESPN and there's an expectation that you're going to go and you're going to win, and you have dreams the night before the big game, and then when those dreams don't come true, there's certainly a letdown, and it's raw, and you kind of beat yourself up over things that you could have done better.
I just don't recall just ever feeling like, hey, we're the best, until we kind of got back to Boise, and it was like, hey, you guys are a big deal.
I played college ball and tried to be as competitive as I could, and about the time you feel like you have accomplished whatever you get to accomplish, you begin to live life through the eyes of your children. It's a lot more fun the second time around.
They're champions of our hearts. Boise South Central Little League team returns from the World Championships in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Their plane landed in Boise just moments ago at 4:55. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judd Davis. Boise's team didn't win this series. They won just one of their 3 games, but their winning spirit won our hearts. Dave Tester was with the team when they landed. This is how it looked just half an hour ago.
It is a first for the state of Idaho. The South Central Little League World Series baseball team is here. Break out the band. Let's make some noise for the kids who are the best in the state of Idaho and one of the best in the world. Kids, Dane McGrady, Seth Anderson, Austin Jones, Devin Bittiger, Devin Weaver, Corey Griffith, the coaches rolling in. Stan McGrady, Marty Jones, Paul Nelson. Let's give them a cheer.
That was Dave Tester welcoming home the team, and 6 on Your Side was happy to provide the band. We just wanted to welcome the team home with a real hero's welcome, and they certainly did. Fans, friends, and family were welcoming the team home with signs. They've been in Williamsport 1 week after winning the Little League Western Championship. They fought the battle of the underdog, and you can see by the banners the excitement. They are truly our heroes.
I guess the amount of sacrifice that really went into the whole thing. I mean, Stan, Marty, and Paul took weeks of work off. Our parents all had to make sacrifices. Our siblings all had to make serious sacrifices.
We all know each other. We've been lowest of lows with each other, highest of highs with each other, and I'm excited to see these guys again.
To honor these players and everything they accomplished in that special season, 6 on Your Side organized the very first reunion of every single player and even most of the coaches, 20 years after the players made their enduring mark on the city of Boise.
You kind of pick and choose who's going to have kids first, and you can never predict these things, and then you see what kind of parents they are and how active they are, and just their kids look exactly like them, and it's just cool. As priorities shift, that's a lot more important now than anything that we did 20 years ago.
The brotherhood that we have, it's really special.
It was a special thing that 11 kids within 10 minutes of a drive could bring an entire community together and take it to somewhere we've never been before.
They're special. They're special. A lot of us grew up together, got to play high school ball together, Legion ball, and we had success then too. And I just think we have this really close, tight-knit bond that not a lot of people have.